a couple of surprises there, Tom. I mean, I don't really know where to start. I mean, we got 4 players all going with different agents, but we don't even get time to sit and dwell on that. We're jumping into map number 1, kicking off Masters 3 strong with ASCEND versus Supermassive Blaze, a rematch of the Challengers game, and we start it the same way here on Bind. Supermassive Blaze with a very different composition this time around.
Yeah, the Desk don't get much time to talk. We don't either, because I imagine it's going to be a relatively quick pistol round, but the changes they've made, the first one I want to point out is Turco on Skye. I don't think he's ever played Skye before, so this is something that they were prepping, they were planning. They knew they were up against Ascend, they knew this is their best map. They have prepared very well for this matchup and come out with something completely different.
They're going to come in. They're coming in flooding the map with information. Russ and Turco playing those Skye and Sova comms can be dangerous. Already on the site here, Ascend are going to be grabbing the plants. This is a strategy we've seen plenty over in EMEA, at least. Coming out of bat, putting the wall down, and grabbing that post-plant position. Bone Cold trying to be sneaky up in the corner, but it looks like it's going to be a very delayed retake from Supermassive Blaze. Bone Cold just jumped on top of the wall. He's a madman.
Yeah, losing that early player could be a little bit more of a problem. They need to almost give space. Oh, what's happened? He's got a little bit lost in the mix, and somehow this has come back into a 3v2 scenario. The time ticking. They're just defusing. It's left on the Starzo, but he finds himself all 3. What a start from Ascend. He just gave them a few warning shots beforehand, Mitch.
Oh, yeah. Then the right clicks were coming in all day long. Wow. Starzo getting her hearts jumping a little bit, but coming out with the pistol now. Ascend have that 1-0 advantage. We're starting this map out in identical form. I mean, last time around that they played this, it was 13-6 in favor of Ascend. We had the pistol go their way and the follow-up, and Supermassive Blaze, who again have chosen to start on the defense, really weren't able to get the ball running last time around.
No, and they're playing up against a team who have an incredible attack on this map. Like, Ascend have demolished the best of the best when it comes to buying, at least within their region. This is aggressive, though. They're almost just going to be feeding into killers in the early stages of this round. The B site completely open, and obviously Mitch are trying to make this one at least a little bit costly.
And look at the value of ult orbs over on Ascend. They love farming up these rounds. Every single player is going to be bringing value to the table. In fact, Seeker's going to be online coming into round 3, and it might not be a showstopper or an orbital strike, but it certainly is something that can help out in making these bonus rounds that little bit more viable in certain situations.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be the Prime Gaming Flawless coming through. Definitely not going to be the most exciting replay you're going to see today, especially after the pistol round, but it's one where, realistically, keeping it as clean as possible now gives them everything they need to go into this round. And that's the thing. Seekers is one of those ultimates that in a bonus round can be super valuable. You can spot out any maybe weak pieces, get yourself an extra rifle here, and then it can be a real game changer for them.
I most definitely can. Now, I'm spotting out those Astra stars in towards mid, but they're not really slowing anything down for Ascend, quickly gaining control over Hookah. And as they come up through long, they lose a player. Sure, Izzy is low, but that's a trade that they're more than happy to make now. The numbers thinned out on site, but still able to keep the kills going their way. Turco, caught by the flash, is going to be taken down, and now it gets dangerous, Tom. They can actually retrieve these weapons on site and have a much better chance of closing it out with the spike plants pretty much uncontested.
It's weird. It looked like SMB almost got baited in a little bit by those extra rotations and pulled things back at least a little bit more with the fact that they went through the TP and managed to still have 2 players on site. The res, though, has changed things a little bit. The perfect scenario for CNED is he gets kills, he gets a res, and now they have themselves a man advantage.
Exactly. That post-plant res coming through puts Ascend way in the lead. The man advantage, the weapons retrieved. This was a bonus round, one that Supermassive Blaze wanted to get away with in relatively flawless fashion, and yet they struggled to even save a weapon. Izzy running for the hills towards the A site. This is a guaranteed third for Ascend.
Yeah, big round. Again, Ultimate's playing a decent part, but it's funny. I think that the setup from Supermassive Blaze was actually very good. Like, they had the 3-man stack initially. They had the bait TP, because in your mind you go, okay, maybe you're only playing a couple on B. One's gone through the teleporter. There's only one left. But the close angle was actually really well played. It was just those trades from Ascend. I think that's something that they might do better than anyone. It's just going into the site as a unit and trading out those initial frags. And as I said, the res definitely helped.
Yeah, Starzo's flash coming out of Hookah really just bought them all that space. The whole point of having those Vandals on range was that they could take those fights and be able to really get themselves the advantage. And instead, they end up getting destroyed. And Tom, I'll say one thing. this is probably the best tech pause I've seen.
Yeah, there's almost a part of me that goes, have they added in a tech pause just to almost show this off? Like, I feel like some of the production guy goes, can we just put this one? Can we just
pockets for this one? This round should be a moneymaker for ASCEND, but when you look at Supermassive Blaze and you look at what they're investing, Izzy is really gambling on himself, getting a couple of kills and an ult orb so he can have that Blade Storm out in the next round. Let's see if he's going to get any value out of that.
It seems like they've also used Pora as a bit of a contingency plan, because one of the other things I wanted to bring up is the fact that I want to see the operator in hand for Izzy. It's a complete game changer. He's someone who can get far more aggressive when he has that weapon in hand. It does look like, though, they're going to use the remainder of the players who don't currently have the weaponry as a bit of a bait and switch. So they'll take the initial shot, they'll take the bullet for their teammate if anybody goes in that direction. However, well, they're not.
Yeah, they're looking at pressure over towards the A site for now. ASCEND still leaving the door open, leaving themselves a couple of options in the early stages. A wall bang onto Pora, and that might even have been through a couple of Viper walls at that. That's not something you see all too often.
I'm still confused as to what he just did. Zeke's just going to go blast packing through and find himself another, and well, unfortunately the nice little bait and switch they had is instead going to turn out from a full retake from behind with one gun. Not looking good.
Yeah, they know full well that this is a flank play. You saw the markers go down. Bit of a risky fight for Killez. We got the Spectre to play with, and there's potentially a rifle to be picked up afterwards for him. They're going to let Bone Cold do the legwork, making his way up behind while the distraction is in. They're spraying away, and here's Bone Cold farming them up. A collateral to close that one out, and very little loss with Killez being able to pick up a rifle indeed. He grabs himself a Vandal. ASCEND have just made bank.
Yeah, and a solid start. One of the questions that a lot of people had is CNED going to play as well outside of his bedroom? I think that was something that people were wondering. Well, he's 8-1 in the first 4 rounds, and currently with over 400 ACS, so it's going all right. I think he might be able to cope.
Yeah, it looks like he's feeling relatively comfortable. We're not even seeing him, pull out that operator.
He's not even on his favorite agent either.
Look at the cash, man. Look how many credits are stacked up. Now, Izzy coming in with the operator dropped over. He's one away from Blade Storm as well. This could be a strong round for him, but there's no opponents to take down. Bone Cold is faking out Hookah, making some presence, but it's the A site that ASCEND are looking keenly towards. They spotted that early flank that came through from Supermassive Blaze in the previous round when they pushed down through Hookah. Now they're hoping that that B pressure is going to get the same reaction out of the A players so they can punish them. But because of how advanced Izzy is, how far pushed down he is, that's not going to happen. And so Supermassive Blaze will just sit down, stay calm.
Yeah. It's surprising, though, that I think the Flash has almost baited them into keeping 3 players on the B site, even though there is currently nobody there. The rotation will come in at least a little bit later, but Zeke is already making his move.
Yeah, they're going to make their way onto the side here. Zeke trying to backstab as they go for the plant. Position still being watched. Still being stared at. He can't really make a move just yet, but as he swings into Pora, that's the opening kill for them. Spike down, ASCEND with full control. The only thing that can potentially help Supermassive Blaze out, we got Izzy rotating in, operator in hand, and of course the Seekers to reveal a couple of these players.
And Brave the furthest forward. He's going to try and use a little bit of utility to try and hold them back, but the time has been ticking and they really haven't got much control whatsoever. The peek in is almost just debate as they also have Zeke alongside, and I wonder if they're just going to have to back out of this one. The clock too far gone, a solid flash at least to catch off another, but Zeke is just going ham. Izzy has to try and run away to save the operator, and he should at least get one. No! Zeke actually hits that?
He even gets him in the end, man. So that's going to be the operator save. The complete punish over Supermassive Blaze's buy. And hey, I don't really blame him. No. Bringing the op into the next round, I mean, with the way they're playing so far, they do not need it. And they'll be up against a weak buy from Supermassive Blaze. Blade Storm is online for Izzy. But other than that, I don't expect to see much committed.
No, and at the moment, it's looking pretty bleak for Supermassive Blaze. This started off, as said, as the map that we firmly favor. I think that's going to be the case for the first 2 within this series. In fact, I expect to be going to a 3rd unless ASCEND really do have something up their sleeve. But it's more the mana, like a single opening kill, an after plant, and then it really didn't look like that round was going to slip away at any point.
We had a deep flash put down towards the start of this round. Be long, getting them information, garnering them something to work with. Bladestorm's being spotted. I'm surprised that they're still moving in. Izzy takes his moment to strike, and Zeke will be dropped. Looking to support his teammates on long. They may well have stopped ASCEND from going for any sort of B aggression at this point, and there's a rifle there to be retrieved inside of Hookah, but actually I better hold on to that thought because ASCEND are still moving up through A, and Izzy is still picking them off. Oh, that
Baited out the res. It's going to be the peek in, though. More than prepared, and he misses the knives. It slipped away. It was looking so good. He just wanted the two players. Somehow, this round keeps swinging back and forth, and they've got an aggressive position of Pora. He's so good with this Sheriff. Never missed that initial shot, and might just be able to get around the corner. He's not even going to be spammed either, so he gets to escape.
Yeah, they're trying to hunt him down, got up in front of that Sage wall, just guaranteeing now that their back is clear, but they have to work on getting this Viper out of position. They don't know exactly where he is, and in fact, he's willing to commit the ultimate and let it just die down, holding the positions to stop them from planting. And with 20 seconds left, they need to make a move. Killez now low, one hit from this Sheriff, and Pora's going to be able to take the first, possibly even the second. 13 seconds as the final shot rings out. Supermassive Blaze are on the board.
A beautiful round from them, especially. Like the Bladestorm initially, but it's also just Pora with the Sheriff. He currently has 4 kills, 3 of them with the Sheriff. Yep. And the thing is, when they were walking around that corner, I was 100% confident he was at least going to get one. This man with the pistol is just unbelievable. Even ends up missing the first player. But I also like the fact that he just uses the ultimate just to run away, because he covers himself and then just goes. It's not something that you'd normally see a player do, because, well, he basically just wasted an ult just to escape, but it's worth it in that scenario to stay alive.
It's the percentage play, and it's so smart. That's one of the things you definitely won't see in your ranked, right? You try to take the fight to 50-50. Here comes a Poison Orb blocking out towards Lambs. ASCEND really want to put some pressure towards Supermassive Blaze's A defense, and you can see the utility that's being put out on the other side. You've got Astra Stars used up, a drone making its way in towards Bath. They are very worried about this crunch in towards A, but ASCEND are slowing it down yet again, conscious that there could be a flank underway. And look at where CNET is. The man is in their spawn watching for flanks. The timing not quite working out for him. Izzy is comfortable enough and not over-aggressing, but the control that he's garnered allows for the rotate. The 4-man stack on this A side as they push through, and Zeke is up with the showstopper to take down the first. The trades come in thick and fast, and that will be an easy A site, at least you would imagine.
Yeah, Turco, I don't know how he gets anything done from this scenario. He needs to catch someone on the fadeaway, and, well, that's exactly what he does. This actually starts the rotation, but I think they're expecting Izzy to be coming in from behind. Multiple players already retaking that control. If he can kill off Viper, maybe he can at least remove that utility, and hits the pixel shot to turn it into a 2v2.
Absolutely massive. Post plant no longer to be played with, but unfortunately Turco falls. He really needed a pick in that situation. Now, all that's left to do is to save yet again for Izzy. That operator too valuable to throw away on a 1v2 with such limited time. And we will see another round for ASCEND. They have bounced right back. In fact, it looks like they're even trying to hunt him down, but not going the right way.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a change on this A site. Like that is now every single time. Like that round, they basically had a full stack because of Izzy's position. They pushed him all the way up. He had the control, watching for any sort of rotation. They put every other player at least either in a rotational spot or on the site itself. And they still lose pretty much every single duel. Like, I think Pora is the only person to get a kill in this execution. That's really surprising, considering ASCEND basically walked straight into the trap.
And there's so many factors for ASCEND there that made that execute into a 4-man stack look so good. The wall that they put down to allow a player to peek on top of the box as they swing around. The Viper wall that they had alongside that, as well as the smoke in heaven, means Izzy couldn't really get the aggressive picks he might have wanted. This time around, that's not the case. He tries to take the boom bot and legs up Bone Gold. Good damage done, but Supermassive Blaze now have to make it work in a 4v4. Their star player of Izzy, their big fragger, no longer with them.
Yeah, and he, well, you've got a couple of players with a few weaker weapons into this round. Now, in the last ASCEND basically committed a lot of their valuable ultimates. So we're still in a spot where realistically a Hunter's Fury could be put into play just to get this one over the line for Supermassive Blaze. The problem though, and again, this is what ASCEND have actually done so well, they've just slowed down. They've not been over-aggressive. They've not tried to play off a lot of those opening picks that they've been finding. They're just ready for their opponents to try and get a little bit more aggressive and try and catch them with their pants down.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to do. You saw that flash play picking up the poison orb, but okay, they have the wall. The wall is going up to allow them to back out. Stars are going to tank a little bit of this snake bite. As he makes his way in towards long, we're going to get a full execute out of this. Smoke's coming down. Orb taking good molly, good slow. Pora's in trouble. He tries to get out of the corner, but there's nowhere to run. Seekers confirm they're all here. Good flash, but the follow-up from Bone Cold. He keeps on connecting on 2 HP. The man has survived, and the 2v2 commences. ASCEND still looking to get that plant in play.
Yeah, I'm surprised more didn't come from the Hunter's Fury. Like, they did a little bit of damage, but the fact is one of the players was actually stuck. Brave, though, has come through, and it's onto this man once again. ACEND to try and clutch it up, but it'll be Rust to take it away. A big round from Supermassive Blaze. Again, an investment of multiple ultimates, but at least they got a second round on the board.
Well, that's it. They're grinding these rounds out. It's feeling very reminiscent of the previous game. Just a consistent string of rounds for ASCEND, with Supermassive Blaze every now and then picking up their one, but they're in close fashion. They're in these 2v2s where combined, I think ASCEND had like 75 HP, and they only barely get it across the line. I think ACEND being up on top for 1 second extra, and that's a round loss. These are not the way, this is not the way that you want to be winning rounds.
Yeah, well, the Red Bull clutches, that's not what you really want to be seeing. So I am a little bit worried still for the side of Supermassive Blaze, because again, they're going to come in with some weaker weaponry. Again, we're going to see multiple ultimates. Like, Bone Cold has now got another orbital strike to try and give them an opening. On this map especially, well, you can clear out so many angles. Izzy's just trapped. He either has to die or back away, and well, he's going to choose the latter, surprisingly.
Oh, that was through the smoke. Zeke up on top, takes down Turco. Russ is trying to recover, but he can only get the first. This is looking very shaky for Supermassive Blaze, and another response from ACEND. The res comes in, a 5v3 that they have to fight their way back into. Seekers revealing their positions, all the information to play with, all the manpower for ACEND, and even the weaponry sitting in their favor with Brave sat down. And the Spectre, nice kill by Izzy.
If that could make the difference. This was looking almost like, well, a definite set. Like, going for this just seemed impossible, but the fact that they've caught out the flank, it gives them a little bit more space to try and make it to the side. Pora, okay. He's going to pick off one already, but they haven't cleared Zeke from the angle. The paint shell will hold them back a little bit longer. Pora hitting every shot he can, but they just don't have the time. And it just seems like whenever there's an opportunity for Supermassive Blaze to finally get themselves a couple of rounds in a row, ultimates are there for ACEND to just win it for them.
Now, I'm really curious coming into this round now for Supermassive Blaze. How do they commit the Viper's Pit? They're going to start out with that available, and to be honest, it's one of the things that I would look at as being a difference maker in helping them secure these sites, because they have not been able to hold on to control. You saw how good... Oh, he was flashed as well. That's disgusting. You saw just how good their retake was there. They managed to pick this team apart, a team that was in a 5 versus 3 with the spike planted, and they only got out with 1 player alive. That is huge for Supermassive Blaze. The problem is, they need to do that earlier.
Yeah, and they need to do it when it's not going to obliterate their own economy as well. When they're in a spot now where one of their players has a pistol, another still has the SMG from the previous round, and on the other side, full buy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely not the ideal scenario. I'm surprised we still don't see Viper's Pit committed. They're actually looking to fight Hookah instead. And we've seen this again and again from Pora and Turco. So far, though, whenever they've gone for it, there's been no one around. And it's the same thing this time. ACEND avoiding all those early flashes, avoiding the early utility, and just playing such a slow game.
Okay, you finally get it put down.
There we
It's
go.
going to be onto the B site. Now, I will say that in a lot of the rounds, I think we've seen the vulnerabilities when it comes to A. A lot of the closer rounds have ended up on this B site. Izzy not going to be able to connect. I would have expected him to hit that. There's been a few of those this game where it's like, I expect him to get those kills.
Yeah, good position to counter the A execute we'd seen before, and the wall was down, but it is in fact a B play. Oh, the fire is down on the site. The wall bang is good. Pora fighting from inside his Viper's Pit. He wants to stop them from getting onto the site. He's good for 2, but that's all he can do. The shutdown of ACEND makes this a little bit more doable, though, with Zeke and Killes trying to get it done.
Yeah, they've locked down the spawn, and especially when it's Izzy trying to come through it. Like, you telling me he's going to run through the Viper's Pit with an AWP? Like, that's a horrible spot to be in. I feel like Russ has to do everything, and he's going to just take so much damage. He runs into the snakebite. Now, sure, he doesn't actually have 1 HP, but he almost has to try and find the player within this ultimate. And Russ, as said, he needs to do a lot, and that is the ult down.
That's going to be Zeke, stuck in the corner. The reveal won't quite catch him, but the fight, it gives away his position. He has to run down the clock. The operator swinging in to take him down. Zeke is trying to avoid it, jumping up and down, and it actually works. Although the shot comes in from Izzy, the time is far too low. ASCEND are up to 8.
He's an absolute rat. That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen anyone do. It's like, oh, you want to hit me with the I'll just jump up and down. So there's nothing for you to see anymore. Red Bull clutch coming through again. We've had a few of those back-to-back, and I have to say, Zeke has been at the heart of pretty much all of them. The man is on fire today. He's one of those players that we saw come in, for people who don't know, as a swap deal. Like, it was like, okay, you get to have Zeke, we'll take your in-game leader. We'll take Coldamenta away to G2. And this man, like, we'll see how G2 do in this tournament. I think that'll be the true test of both of these rosters. But this man has made ASCEND look so much better than they ever did.
We're going to get a showstopper right off the rip. They're just looking to go in for some aggressive duels up against pistols and a single operator. And the shot's not going to land. Zeke falls, showstopper finds nothing, and now ASCEND quickly turn tail towards the B site. They realize they'd seen a couple players too many, and so the B site will be the weakness, but it looks like Supermassive Blaze might get there first.
Yeah, if they can delay them even a little bit, it could make things so much more difficult. And I think, again, ASCEND are going to realize, okay, this all in play is just not going to be worth it. They already had the idea that someone's rotating. I would say they've over-rotated, though. Lurk. Like, Bone Cold is just going to walk into A, and there is no one here. They have all left. They've taken a big risk on the gamble rotation, and it's not gone great.
It's the pack mentality, right? When you've got these weapons, these pistols around an operator, you want to just move together as a unit. And ASCEND have read that perfectly. Bone Cold, the lurking IGL, starts to feel it out and see, hey, you know what? These guys, they fully rotated. They've left the site. Let's try. This is our best chance to get the round. But they still have a lot to play against. You have an operator. You have a Vandal on the other side. And Supermassive Blaze even go in and pop that Blade Storm. Is he giving the op to Turco, but he can't get out, and he gets caught up! A wall, a gap in the wall that they could never have seen coming! Poor is left alone. That was a chance, an opportunity for Supermassive Blaze, but again, ASCEND step it up to claim a 9th.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. The worst thing about that is as well, I can almost guarantee this. Cena did not mean to leave that gap in the wall.
Probably not.
Absolutely not. There's no way. But this is the difference between a lot of teams and ASCEND. They make a mistake by not placing the wall that blocks everything off, and then they use it to win them the round. Yeah, like, who else does that?
They adapt, and that's one of the things I can tell you, watching that, I've seen it. I'm thinking back to like Alliance versus BDS, and I saw so many things. There were little mistakes that happened on the other side, but they would then go, oh, okay, I kind of messed this up. But what can we do with it? How can we make this work to our advantage? And ASCEND are one of the best teams in the world at making that happen. This time, the aggression in through Hookah is finally going to come through, and Izzy's able to claim the first before going down. Turco with a huge whiff, and that could cost them massively. Hunter's Fury connecting quite a few pulses, but they've lost the sight. And again, it's going to have to be a retake with a man disadvantage.
I'm not too much of a believer in these at this stage. The Cosmic Divide has been in for an incredibly long time, but will it... Okay. Starzo's just got walking across. He's been caught. It gave them something, but the rest of the players are a little bit far behind. Brave almost going in solo, and it still puts them with a disadvantage on this retake. Poor, he's been one of the shining lights for this squad so far. A second kill to give them a chance, but it's the 1 versus 1. It needs to be Russ, normally so good in these clutches, but not this time. It's Zeke with another Red Bull clutch, but who's surprised?
Well, we have seen Supermassive Blaze make some drastic changes. And so far, Tom, I think it's fair to say it has not worked out. 2 rounds at the halftime. This is going to be incredibly tough for them as they try to now make it work on the attack. Maybe we'll see something from their Sova Sky comp. Maybe we'll see them unlock their true potential. But so far, it's leaving a lot to be desired.
Yeah, luckily for us, though, Mitch, I've heard that there's a genius, like a legend of the scene, who is waiting around to give us a little bit more context. So if that's available to us, I don't know, should we give it over?
Well, you know what? Why not? We've got Bala over on the Ivy as he's ready to give us some beautiful rundowns. Let's see what he's got for us.
Oh, guys, I got plenty. This is ridiculous. I don't know how we're starting here. This is probably the scariest start to a tournament for, anybody who's looking to actually make a run here, because ASCEND looks dominant and all their players are firing on all cylinders for this first half. Let's take a look at the pistol. We're going to hop into Telestration on the minimap because they have 3 different Viper walls. You can see I labeled this ASCEND's Viper walls. 3 different Viper walls. The first one is actually uncommon. It goes right across the site. That allows them to get through into the cubby and through out of bathroom as well. And that forces players to actually try to play in front down the line. But the other ones, the common ones, you go across lamps, that's actually a circle. We got the one that goes across lamps and then the other one that they use like that. So let's go ahead and roll the clip and talk about basically how they control this. CNED grabs the orb in bathroom all the way back here in the beginning of the round, and that's important. Starkso is going to plant the spike all the way back there as well, and they get the wall out, the Sage wall perfectly across, and Zeke's watching the flank, Keyless as well. Really, they have nothing to do because they all stayed behind this Viper wall, behind the entire thing, so they have to push through at a certain time, and then eventually you see Russ is trying to push through in the middle of that site, and there's the Sage wall blocking him. Brave doesn't know what to do with his Asher smokes. They don't know where the spike is, and that's when this happens from Starkso all the way back at the pistol round. You guys saw this, and you were already like, hold on a second. He just went through that smoke and then popped a couple with his classic. That is ridiculous, and we'll see how that actually conditions them when we go back to the map in the second round. Let's go ahead and get to the second clip because it's a different type of situation here. They're playing actually over towards the B site, and this is the third round. They've sent this wall again, and I want you to see how the opposing team is playing this. Let me get my free hand. You can go ahead and roll the clip. Let me get my Viper wall up again. Keyless has to play up front bathroom. He's trying to control that over. Meanwhile, they're going to go ahead and pressure Izzy, who gets 1 kill onto Bone Cold, and he falls all the way back into that teleporter. He has to rotate so far away, forces the 3 versus 2, and they jump out trade perfectly. Starkso on the site. He gets 1 kill. CNED gets another. He gets the orb, and he already has his ult. This is unbelievable from CNED. We'll continue to watch this because this is ridiculous. The eco frags that he got the round before, and then the rounds that they continue on with different Viper walls that really forces them. The wall comes up, the res comes in, and the round is basically locked up. We'll continue to see this on Bind because this is seriously a very important theme that we'll see with ASCEND's Bind and also Sentinel. So in this second half, we'll see if SMV can contend, but I don't think so, boys.
I like that. You see that at the end? And also Sentinels, by the way. Just see, he had to put that in. He had to, yeah. Some NA team, it doesn't matter. We're here to see the real champions.
Enough.
We're going to go back.
Enough. We don't need any more Barlow. We need more game. There's
More
a second
game.
half, guys.
Exactly.
Come on. We can't give him all the limelight. Like, a beautiful man, but we want to get back into what matters.
Exactly. Caster, start game.
Start
We'll be doing that in about 18 seconds. It's 10-2 at the halftime, and ASCEND have been looking incredible on their attack. Now they swap over to the defense. Let's keep in mind as well, Supermassive Blaze opted to start in that defense. They made a lot of changes to their composition. And like we said, they ain't really seen a lot from it so far.
Maybe it's pretty good on the attack, This is given the benefit of the doubt. Got to be a little bit hopeful in these sort of scenarios. A lot of aggression again. This is something that we're going to see an awful lot when it comes to this side of Bayern. Zeke looking almost to battle initially, but is held back. And of course, they've got their own screen, which just gives them the ability to not only flash through, but go for these cheeky peeks and then fall back again.
The pistol round is always paced pretty quickly from what we've seen so far. Supermassive Blaze, though, slowed down by some early peaks by utility, like that nade coming down on long, but they will still ultimately look to finish on the B side. There is a 3-man stack here and a nasty close position by Starzo. He's going to flash out and confirm there's still some players there. And he's playing contact on his teammate. Oh, never mind. He's getting pushed on. Hora's already in. He's taken down 2. The third on backside goes his way as well. This was a pistol round that Supermassive Blaze desperately needed if they're to have any shot of taking this map and making the massive comeback. And now they're in a 4v2 that they surely can't lose.
They'll clear Turco out. I don't think it's going to matter too much, though. Only 1 man standing, and CNED will fall. And it almost seems like one of those IGL situations where Poro's just gone, fine, I'll do it myself. Yeah, it just goes straight through. It just kills everyone. A sick pistol from him. I will say the pop flash coming out from Turco was just on point. Like, there was no chance for Starzo to get absolutely anything done. And but the problem I have is, other than that, I don't think Turco's look particularly comfortable on this agent. Like, he's normally someone, Mitch, who puts up insane numbers, especially on his Sage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we said it before we started. You were saying it, Thomas. This is the first time ever playing this agent in an official game.
I hope that's right.
Well, Tom said it, so come after
It must be.
When it comes to ASCEND right now, they've got 10 rounds. They're not going to be too worried. This should be an easy farm up for the Supermassive Blaze side. It's all just classics, a few sheriffs here and there. Zeke good to take down one, but he'll be traded out nicely right afterwards. And, well, Supermassive Blaze don't really want to lose any more bodies in this.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to have too much cost when it comes to their bonus round, especially when you consider that there really isn't much invested into this at all. Still fairly tentative from Supermassive Blaze. They've won the early duels. They don't really need to take too many risks, and I think the only way that they, well, make some serious mistakes is just by not checking their corners, which, you know what, after killing that many players, I don't know if they'll necessarily expect killers to be here. That flash, however, gives the game away.
I like the little Starzo getting a taste of his own medicine, really, right? We saw in round 3 the same thing happened to him that he inflicted on Supermassive Blaze when he flashed out, and they managed to make it work with the weaker weapons, and now he's really starting to feel like, or really starting to get a taste of what it's like to play against these Sky players when they're flashing through your smokes. You're never safe.
Yeah, for sure. I think Starzo as well has been one of the players that I think I've enjoyed watching most on Sky, especially from EMEA. I think you can put people like Solcast also within that bracket. I think he's almost, it's like an evolution of Solcast playing that agent. But I also really enjoy watching Ethan play it. So I'm hoping that we might get some sort of matchup later on in the tournament. Of course, that does revolve around certain teams qualifying to the next stage. So especially within Group A, that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, there's always going to be players that we want to see, but you don't know. I don't know if you'll ever get to see that head-to-head. At the mercy of the tournament format for that one. Now we're at 10-4. Supermassive Blaze winning the pistol, winning the second, but now look at how seriously they're taking this round. They've got their 2 Vandals to play with ASCEND, win the early duel with Bora going down. The pressure being applied through middle. The spray for Zeke doesn't actually land, but the trade is quickly found. ASCEND maintaining their man advantage. Killaz is going to give up a lot of control, and as that Wolf goes in, the Tiger is returned on the other side. Brave desperately wants to get this done up close. The Spectre in play, but now he's forced into a ranged fight. Tickled up as Killaz takes him down. A 4 versus 2 in fact emerges. CNET on 8 HP yet again. Man is not having a good time when it comes to being tagged up, but it looks like they are making quick work of this low buy round.
Not overfacing, a few low players as well on the other side. I think even an extra kill here for Supermassive Blaze would be good. If they win it, well, okay. Not sure that flash went exactly to plan. Just popped in his teammate's face.
Here they come. Here they come.
Died. Are they all going to go through together?
They're rallying through. This is going to be a team TP. They're dropping pistols in just to let them know we're on our way, buddy. There's a couple of us who want to say hi to you, and a flash comes in first. Still, though, they haven't followed through. They're waiting. A second flash perhaps being primed in a number of seconds. He's giving him a Vandal! He's giving him a Vandal! He's throwing. They're giving him 2! Hey, buddy, take our weapons. We've got nothing left. We'll come and knife you. What is this?
They 100% don't know that he has an SMG. There is no way they know he has an SMG because they've just given him a rifle upgrade. Are they just going to leave him?
What?
So he's just going to get an upgrade?
Oh my god, I've never seen someone ego so much. Hey, buddy, you want to save? Don't save a Spectre.
Have a better
Take our Vandal. It's 11-4. We don't give a damn. That's ASCEND for you. They're already bringing their personality.
No way
They're letting them know. That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Oh my.
Mitch's dream, just Reaver Vandals coming through the teleport. Like, please give me one.
Are there any Riot gun buddies on them?
I don't know. I do know a man to ask, though.
Don't start. Don't start. It's 11-4 right now. ASCEND bounced right back, but Supermassive Blaze did keep their economy relatively in check. One player can't buy, but it's Izzy. And of course, you already heard. He doesn't want any people in his way. He called it out right at the start. Bladestorm's online.
They're ready, though. An early lockdown of the hookah position leaves this as a bit of an awkward attack spot. Now, they've taken a lot of control in towards long, but again, we're going to see this early 3-man stack into the B site. The remaining players just waiting patiently, still having the screen as an opportunity to back off. And CNED, Well, he's going hunting. He's facing into Brave, the only player you'll ever see with a Phantom on their side, but he gets the close range battle.
Yeah, you can see he was expecting them to be slightly further down, aiming at the torso as they came around. It's going to be a bit of an awkward position for Starzo. The flash lands, but none of the bullets do. And ASCEND, you might not think it, but they're on a full buy here. Supermassive Blaze just completely running over them and finding that B site with ease. 2 players left, Zeke and Killez, and they will be looking to save, maybe find some exits along the way.
Yeah, I'm still looking at the HP as well. They are being healed up, but there was about 4 players around 20 to 50 HP. So it was a little bit closer for ASCEND, but yeah, big fight back for Supermassive Blaze, winning those openers, expecting the aggression of their opponents. And I don't think the credits are going to be in the greatest of spots for ASCEND in the next round. So we are going to witness them try and save some of that extra weaponry. One of them being a judge, though, so, well, I guess if he's going to play Hookah in the next round, it's not too much of a problem.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Zeke is going to be more than comfortable working with that. He might even try to make a quick play to the B side after the spike shrinks back up, but I don't think he's going to get close enough to gain anything. There you go. He's going to be... Oh, no. They don't even... Yeah, he knew it was too far away. It's all good. 11-5. Look, Supermassive Blaze definitely not back on the board yet, but there could come a time where ASCEND will regret throwing those Vandals through the teleporter.
Yeah, for sure. I won't say it was necessarily the difference maker in this round, but a nigh on flawless round coming through from Supermassive Blaze. So they're going to be in a very good spot financially for this one. They can get those few extra upgrades they need. Of course, Izzy not actually having a gun in the last spot, but if they can win this round, then yeah, they're going to be able to at least have a chance to fight this one back. Of course, there's always going to be a play being made. The res, oh, it's going to be online, but he might need to bring himself back. Never mind. CNED, while dodging every single bullet, has found one through the smoke. Bear in mind, he's using a Vandal, so they know where he is.
Oh, and he's got a second as well. He lit Brave down to 40 health, stripping him of his armor, and CNED's still looking to go forward. 15 health off him, no armor to play with, no shields whatsoever, but he does not give a damn. Now here comes the Viper Orb. It's going to be blocking off any sort of impact from Bone Cold. Starzo spraying it. Oh, Bone Cold, he's walking into it, and that gives him away. Pora's going to just hunt him down right afterwards, tickles him up, but somehow doesn't take him down, and Bone Cold wins that fight. Low on HP, healed right back up. Supermassive Blaze are finding it hard to get any ground. Eventually, CNED will fall, but there is so much left to do.
I've been gobsmacked by pretty much every single kill ASCEND has got in this round. 2 of them, 1 player spraying against 4 through smoke, and then the other is just a battle that I would have bet a lot on Pora winning that one. Instead, they're going to try to go for the rotation, and although there's currently nobody in the area other than Zeke, who's a little bit further behind, it's still going to be a real issue for them. The rotation already coming in. I think the teleporter actually ended up as a bit more of a burden than anything else, but they might not expect 2 players, and I don't think it's going to matter. Zeke will close it out using the shotgun to his advantage, and ASCEND are 1 round away from taking their map.
ASCEND reaching 12. I mean, this... I can't say it's a surprising scenario. It really isn't. Last time we saw these teams play...
How?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Last time we saw these teams play, we ended up in a position where ASCEND took the first map pretty easily, but then they didn't look comfortable on Split. Now the difference is they don't have Split up next. Supermassive Blaze won't have as easy of a time necessarily when they move to map number 2. At the same time, you heard from Kukuka earlier, there are a couple of weaknesses there for ASCEND when it comes to ASCENT. And I think in particular, looking at their games versus Illuminar, G2, these are teams that, playstyle-wise, I can definitely see Supermassive Blaze replicating.
Yeah, I think as well that Supermassive Blaze are going to be fine going into that map. I would say it's their best map, so realistically they're going to be incredibly confident. Bone Cold, they're just fighting on the edge of these smokes, fighting around the smokes, and there's going to be a peek hit. He's just hitting every single shot. Ultimate online, he can now deny them any extra space if they try to go for this quicker push. And that's exactly what he's going to do. They've been forced out of position. The spam will get 2 from Starzo. This map is done. Russ needs to clutch out a 1 versus 4.
Yeah, nice orbital strike, pushes them out of position, they spam them up. Nothing you can do about that one. Russ wants to be sure he can reload, pops the recon into the smoke, but here's the flash, no peek after. Starzo's gonna wait and walk on through the smoke. Getting himself around the edge. Oh, Russ was ready for it, but it didn't matter. 13-5, and even more dominant showing out of ASCEND this time, and that was with some tomfoolery, Tom.
Yeah, this is one of those things where they've literally like switched up the entirety of their comp to try and beat them. They knew this matchup was coming for quite a while. They tried to fix their bind against an incredibly strong bind team, and they got beaten worse.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign.
What was that move from Bone Cold? I gotta learn that one. He was definitely having a good time though coming in towards the end of this map, and I have to say, ACEND, they show up the way that we hoped they would, the way that we expected them to. Now the question is, looking at map 2, can they do the same? Will we see this same team there? But when it came to aim, when it came to these duels, they had absolutely no problem. They breezed through.
Yeah, no, this was an incredible performance from basically, well, at least in my eyes, the two players you desperately want to perform at this tournament. CNED and Zeke, we know that they're the sort of like stars of this show. CNED, everybody had those questions, like, this man, he's not played on LAN before. Will it be a different story? There may be a bit of a shyer character to some of the other players within there, like Starzo dancing his way through. Well, the man finished 22-11, and a lot of the fights he was taking were almost like ego fights. Like, I'm better than you. I'm going to peek into these angles, and I think that's something we actually need to see from them going into ASCENT, because that's exactly what we're going to see from Supermassive Blaze. They will fight you in mid. They will push every single position on the map. They don't care. They will fight you on it.
And talking about Supermassive Blaze on this map, a lot of the time when you get slapped like this in a map to start out the series, you're going to have teams who are starting to really get themselves down. You know, it does not feel nice to lose in this fashion, but the reality is they know when it comes to bind, ASCEND are one of the best, and Supermassive Blaze don't quite match up. They saw it last time in EMEA Challengers. They've seen it here now, and the question is, moving in, and this is where they want to get it done, and we are ready to jump into the map. By the sounds of things, we've had a couple of changes yet again, Tom, as we get into ASCENT. Supermassive Blaze will be on the attack.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see an Astra, especially on this map. I like the way that you can use it almost like as an extra sentinel at times on the defensive side, and also give you the ability to go for slightly more aggressive plays, like having all of those grab walls to pull players in, and have some combinations of utility, although unless they're going to be having some sick shock dart lineups, there's not a massive amount they'll be able to do with that. So I'm excited to see the new composition, but it's the same as the last map. The reason they're changing things is because they needed to if they were going to stand a chance.
Well, here we go, Tom. We're kicking off the pistol. Supermassive Blaze picking up the pace on that mid push. They really want to get in there. CNED already going to use up that dash to get out of there. Bone Cold probably wants to do the same pretty soon. In fact, that's why the star goes down. He'll just pull it right on back. Doesn't want to waste it, of course.
Yeah, they've managed to clear out some of the early control, but the fact is ASCEND are safe from a split onto the A site because of the early wall. So it almost has to just be a little bit of a slowdown from Supermassive Blaze, trying to bait out some of those early positions. You can see the turret uses a bait and switch, and it's that right click to just take Pora's head clean off.
A nice shot to open things up. He's going to go back and re-aggress yet again, but so many players pursuing him. He needs help and doesn't have it. Cleanly shut down. Now it's time to look towards the site, where CNED is quickly connecting one to Turco, making this a little bit more difficult. He's a little bit cautious of getting spammed down. Starzo, not quite feeling the same caution.
Do they expect? They don't expect it. They don't expect. They don't check. That could have been everything, but actually Zeke's only going to get one. It does give time, though, and that's the main thing that's needed at the moment for ASCEND. Already going to put down another grab well, the peak coming back in, and it's just not going well for Brave. It's Bone Cold to close things out in the pistol, and a few cheeky little set plays from ASCEND to win them the round.
They're talking about win conditions for ASCEND. Obviously, they're starting on the defense here, and that is their choice. You want to see them clock up a couple of rounds, but building on the momentum of the previous map could be absolutely huge for them if they can manage to make that happen. You could start to really make Supermassive Blaze feel boxed in, like this was a mistake. This was not the map that they wanted to fight on, but you have to be realistic then and continuously hammer home the point that this is Supermassive Blaze's map. And a pistol loss won't really deter them, although they are most likely going to lose this one as well, as they come in with some very weak pistols. And I love it, Zeke. Let's get more of that.
It's not quite the Odin, but I think we know it's coming. If he's doing that already with an Ares, it's not something that you will commonly not do with some of the other weaponry.
Well, that wasn't a fun fight, and they've lost the second player. This is already getting into pretty dangerous territory for ASCEND. Not just in terms of losing the round, but economy as well. You really don't want to be losing this many players. They're looking over towards the A side here. Supermassive Blaze creeping in towards Heaven. They have only got the 2 players to work with. The weapons are very weak, but one more kill here, Tom, and that will be a huge blow to ASCEND.
Oh, I think they might have overplayed it a little bit, trying to find themselves a duel, but the fact is crossing past this angle is going to be nigh on impossible, and they're trying to basically just find where on earth these remaining ASCEND players are actually going to be. The fact is, though, with Russ able to get himself the sniper, have that Marshal, he wanted to try and bang the longer range duel. Instead, though, it's going to be the Ares to close out. It's not perfect for ASCEND. I think they would have wanted it a little bit cleaner, but 3 players is not bad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, 2-0 is what it is. You get a couple of weapons. Sure, you're probably going to have a player or 2 on pistols coming into this one. Looking at what they've got to work with as well, you know, the ideal scenario here would be that ACEND was a little more involved in some of those fights, that he'd have that Blade Storm close to peeking over, but instead, they're going to have to take out that Sheriff on kill as Spectre's in play for Starzone Bone Cold. They know that the likelihood is they lose this round. They just want to make sure they keep the money over. Problem is, as I said, ACEND investing up, he's not going to be able to... he's not going to be able to get his Blade Storm by next round.
Yeah, either if he gets his Blade Storm, then he's won them the round. Like, that's basically it.
Yeah,
like, he would have to get enough kills, or maybe get 4 and die. That would be fine as well, but the chances are you're just going to be taking it over the line if that's the case. So it's unlikely to be happening, but we'll see how costly he can make this one and maybe give them an opportunity to try and grab an ultimate orb in the next round.
Couldn't quite get over the wall there with the drone. If it had him, that could have been nice, spotting out a second player in mid. Instead, they slow it down a little bit, but they don't get a whole lot in terms of reward for that drone committed. For the 400 credits that it costs, it is a pretty chunky bit of utility to be investing into. Pora dropping down the turret. It's broken from further away, allowing Bone Cold to catch them by surprise, but even while being pulled, Pora is able to take down one. Now, dealing with the turret just in time as well with 29 HP left. That could have gotten scary. These fights are never going to be ideal for ASCEND with the weaker weapons.
Oh. I don't know if they'll expect Russ to feel. It's a little bit of a whiff, and Killers actually finds another one off his utility on the site. This now becomes a really dangerous scenario for Supermassive Blaze. They're going to use the Paranoia just to hold the remaining players back. Give them an opportunity to get a plant and stick it down, but the problem is they're re-aggressing already. The push coming through. Killers gets his 3rd kill of the round. It's left all onto 1, and ACEND will close it. This was a round where they started with just 1 rifle, and they managed to win it.
I think we painted the picture, Tom. They shouldn't have been able to take that across the line. They had a pistol, 2 Spectres and Ares. I mean, realistically, this was a round that ASCEND knew that they were going to lose, and yet still they come out on top. And really, it's this play from Killez, grabbing the Nano Swarm frag onto Pora, then quickly delivering a second and even going in for 3 on the site. A gorgeous round, a hero round from him, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
Well, yeah, it was that initial damage. Like, although the gravity well didn't do much in terms of the actual kill, it weakened enough that the turret almost kills off Pora, and then the extra utility is there to close him out as well. The problem now, though, is that Pora's on a pistol, and this man is incredibly good with this gun. ACEND, he takes 2 to at least keep it even, but there's now some guns to be had.
That's the problem, the fact that you have a decision to make now, and they've made it. They're closing the door. They're saying, hey, you guys go take that gun. We don't care. We're going to look elsewhere to find those openings, and it's Starzo who's pushed all the way up behind the middle players. That means the spike is now trapped.
No
way. Mean, getting out of here is impossible for Turco without taking a fight. He's already spotted up Starzo and taken him down. Okay, this now gets scary. ACEND have a man disadvantage. Zeke, as much as I love the Odin, it's not really what you want if you're retaking a side a lot of the time. Supermassive Blaze have all the control and a lot of the weaponry.
It's a weird scenario. The fact that Turco spins that and manages to find the kill. The problem being, though, is they've got to try and gamble out the space. Now, they know that there's a turret close, so if that ever turns off even for a second, they'll run towards the A side because they know that Killers will have left. Instead, though, he now peeks in and spots, okay, there's somebody at least around the A area, so they're getting information off those turrets, and they may not necessarily expect Zeke to be this committed into B.
Well, they've definitely heard the drone over there on the B side, so Zeke will maintain his position. The problem is when that recon comes through, it kind of gives it away. There's someone on the site, 12 seconds left. They need the plant and they need it now. They're coming right into the Odin. They might not even know it's in play just yet. He's got basically a full mag to play with plenty of bullets to take them down, and they run into the spray. Absolutely no way. That is a round one for Ascend, 4-0. A bigger blow than they would have liked to have taken, losing 3 players to what was a Sheriff buy from Supermassive Blaze, but they have continued the win streak, and that's exactly what they need, that momentum coming into their opponent's map pick.
Well, this has been the problem now for Supermassive Blaze. They've had a few rounds, even looking back to the last map, where I go, you could have and maybe should have won that. Like,
sure.
You gave yourself the openers, you got yourself those extra weapons, and I think it's just been the patience of Ascend. They've not over-aggressed, they've not taken too many risks, and they've just sat back and gone, okay, we're going to wait for you to make your move and make a play, and it's never really come out. Maybe just a little bit too hesitant.
I love that we've got Bane in the replay.
The slow-mo.
Spark is down. Well, we're looking in towards this A site. Supermassive Blaze are as well. They're full committing to it. A late lurk by Pora coming in through middle as they claim the site and now look for the plant, but in comes CNED. Gonna make it at least a little bit costly. There's absolutely no way that this player steps up above. He's challenged CNED, and he's received exactly what you'd expect. Another CNED just keeps on going. 3 kills with the off, a tag into another, and this is getting scary with just 1 down below, trapped in. Russ needs to make something happen while Pora is making the short play, lurking out, trying to find space, but CNED picks up 4, a classic to close out the round, and a 5th on the board for the defenders. We talked about this map as Supermassive Blaze dominating, that we expected them to come through and slap Ascend in similar fashion to what we saw on the first map, but now Ascend already have 5 rounds on the board. They're already doing as well as Blaze did over on Bind.
That's one of those rounds as well where you almost have to look at it and go, okay, yeah, he's CNED. He is CNED. He'll do these sort of things. But how does he get this many opportunities? They brought back Izzy. He definitely knew he was there, and he still manages to go through and just do this much damage to the remaining players, all just trying to take him out. And, well, if you're going to give CNED those duels, he's going to win them every single time. I think that's just a complete overface.
Yeah, oh, most definitely. The jump up, I didn't believe it was going to come through from Brave, but I guess he thought the birthday look was with him. Nice shot, CNED. Again, punishing, getting the trades back. He's on for a second, and now he's aggressing in. He's being revealed, though, up in the corner. The updraft, not quite getting him out of there as safely as he would have hoped. The heal just about saves him, popping him back up onto basically full HP. Good tag. Oh, it's the kill as well. Zeke doing damage, covering CNED's retreat. Shock darts are coming in. The Odin is here to play, and Supermassive Blaze yet again are looking down in the dumps.
Wherever they go, they see his face. he's almost waiting for them.
CNED A, go B. CNED B, go A.
Yeah, it's like, where do you go to escape this man? It just seems like it's not possible. And even if they do manage to take him out, there's been other players for Ascend so far in this map.
They think he's still in the corner. They shock darted it. They're going back to check their flank. And what are they going to find? They're going to find CNED. But in fact, they do find him. They take him down. This is a pretty good position to play from. Zeke jump spotting. I mean, he could even be taken down if the timing is right. 1 versus 1 on the site. Good damage. Turco delivers a 3rd kill of the round, though. He's not going to have the res online, but it is a 1v1, the best chance for Supermassive Blaze so far.
Yeah, by the looks of it as well, Bone Cold is out of stars. So for utility, he's not really going to have anything. It just comes down to the straight-up gunfight, which, well, you'd probably bank on Turco most of the time, and he is going to get the Red Bull clutch through. This is what we missed when it came down to the last map. This man is a beast on Sage, and he's going to get his first round.
The man is a beast, Tom. I agree. You have to look at that comfort zone really coming through. Whenever he's on that agent, you know that he's going to be able to do damage. And it's not even down. It's not so much down to, like, you look at those kills and go, well, he actually didn't use any utility to get them. But it's when you're a Skye, you're going to be the one flashing for your teammates. You're going to be opening space for them. When you're the Sage like that, you can take that quasi-duelist and try to really just get in their faces. And it's that freedom and putting a player like Turco, who consistently succeeds in that manner, that's got them their first round. Have they called a pause to do a chant?
They're currently singing "We Will Rock You." I don't know if anybody at home can hear this, but they are literally.
Okay. So it's not as bad. It is a Supermassive Blaze. Pause.
I love these
so
guys.
Supermassive Blaze have said, look, we won a round. We got like a 4K to clutch it out, but that's not how we want to win. So let's talk strategy. Let's talk about what we can do. They're really looking to grind this one out and get the win. Ascend, on the other hand, are singing, we will rock you.
Yeah.
Little bit of a different approach there. You can see the comfort.
It's amazing. It is amazing. I'm loving seeing this team, and I'm loving seeing them on a stage. That's the thing. Like we had them as like the Masters champions, at least initially, when it was just within EMEA. And yeah, they proved that they could do something with that roster, but it didn't make it last time. Had a bit of a roster change, a switch up, and well, now I think they're undisputed at the moment as the best team within the region. Gambit giving them a bit of a run for their money, but Ascend have been so damn good.
Let's see what you got, Zeke. Let's see those spams coming through. Shock Dart on the way, just in case someone had snuck on through. But this is going to be a slow round from Supermassive Blaze. Now we get to see that operator battle between Izzy and CNED. The impact from CNED has been unquestionable. Yep. But now Izzy wants to show that he's the best Turkish operator, wants to make a name for himself.
Well, yeah, they are two players within EMEA battling for that, right? The problem is, thus far, Izzy hasn't really shown up. He was a little bit quiet in the first map. We know that that's something of a rarity. We've got a little bit of a battle coming between the two of them. Oh, good nano swarm. I think the heal might have actually kept him alive just long enough.
Great play by Pora. Yeah, from the start to the finish there. He even manages to finish off Bone Cold, not the player he was initially attempting to challenge. This is a fantastic opening. They're going to use that Killjoy lockdown to try and get in towards the site, but they're being pushed on. Oh no, still winning the duels as they go, but Killa up on behind, able to come out of there with two. The lockdown will still come into effect, but it gives them a man disadvantage as they come back in. Starzo even has a res to play with. Now, there's no one really readily available to pop a res on. He's already used his wall, so up in heaven, he can't get that player back online. The res is out of the round. This is where Supermassive Blaze need to turn up.
Your duty is not
He's actually res them.
Oh, actually both players all within a second. Pora, he's going to find himself a fourth. And it's left on to Izzy. As said, it's been a little bit rough for him so far, but this time he will land the shot. The clutch coming through for Supermassive Blaze. But again, it's an incredibly close round.
And it's that big play by Killaz that really puts the spanner into the works. The fact that he manages to creep down middle, somewhere that definitely should have been covered much more actively. He's able to take those head peak fights, win out two, and almost get that lockdown destroyed as well. That could have been insanely unfortunate for Supermassive Blaze, but they clutch it back at the last second. A good opening as well. I have to say, Pora's fight onto CNED, not only did he avoid dying to him, he used his turret to try and bait him out in the first place, then he swings, takes the fight, and had his nano swarm already thrown in to stop that dash out. And a factor of 6 HP, Tom. That's, if CNED aimed 1 degree to the left when he dashed, he was dead.
Well, yeah. Then they cleared him out anyway when they went for the repeak, so they've done well over the last couple, and now actually, financially, we see Ascend in the bin, but that might not matter too much. It's not necessarily an Odin or an Ares this time, but the pistol has kicked things off for Zeke. There's still the opportunity to throw in the Blade Storm as well, but both players go down within an instant. Quick couple of trades back, SMB back in the driver's seat.
This is where, okay, now they've spotted 2 players. They're still here. You know that they're stacked up, but it doesn't look like they're all too concerned, wanting to just punish them and take them down here and now. A late flank coming in from Killaz. It's being watched, or it was being watched by Pora. The ACEND, it still is. Conscious of that play, watching for the spawn as well. I mean, this is perfect. Supermassive Blaze not giving any opportunities really for a big hero play to come through over on Ascend, for the pistols to do major damage. There's the first, but that's all that they'll get. And losing 2 on attack side Ascend, yeah, I think you can accept that.
I'm not sure if CNED actually popped his Blade Storm into the round. We'll see it, but it's something that we normally get in these eco round scenarios, maybe saving it for a rainy day, or he did just pop it and I didn't notice. So yeah, he did. Okay, there you go. We didn't actually get to see it from his POV.
It's kind of like you see CNED, you're like, oh, he didn't get 4 kills that round? Probably didn't.
Yeah, he didn't use it. Well, he died. He didn't even get 1. It's like, come on, he can't use his Blade Storm. That wouldn't make any sense. But after what was a 5-round streak, even with a couple of closer rounds, SMB are now back, and as said, that they are a team that have beaten the likes of Gambit 13-1. They can definitely streak rounds together on this map.
You should run.
Oh, most definitely. Now here's where they're going to try to get something done. This is the one round where you see Zeke playing very, very passive. He actually could have spammed that ult down from it being placed up on top of the box, but obviously he's conscious that they could put it behind it, and then that's not going to happen. So, they're going to have a big retake play from ASCENT, but they also have a lockdown to play with, Tom.
And one of their own. It still seems like maybe a little bit of confusion as the position's currently being taken. The wall boost for Turco might not necessarily be expected, but the afterplant's looking stellar. Again, you've got Pora waiting on the lurk. ACEND already going to be dropped, and now we see the Cosmic Divide thrown in to try and separate these players. But if anything, they've just given a safe spot to Turco to just sit behind them. It is not going well at all for ASCEND in this round, and the afterplant looking incredible.
Yeah, Starzo's trapped, not a chance of getting out of there. Very solid round from Supermassive Blaze. I have to say, one thing that I found kind of odd was Russ used up his shock darts there right at the start. He was throwing them in when the spike was being planted, and obviously when you've got a lockdown on the other side, that's a big risk. It means you can't deal with them. But there is the counter to that of they then decided to play that super aggressive style. They wanted to get up in their face. They weren't waiting on the B site for them to come in and being like, oh, let's hope we can deal with it. No, they ran at them and seized all the space back. 5-4, and we had a tactical pause come out of Supermassive Blaze, and since then, they've been looking pretty hot.
Yeah, since then, they haven't exactly been rocked, you could say, by what we've heard from the other side during that tactical pause. So maybe they'll get one of their own soon and take it a little bit more seriously. But for now, again, we're back to the pistols. Ultimate's in play, unlikely to have too much of an effect. Okay, Zeke actually just pops his Hunter's Fury straight away, looking to try and find them something into this round. Gets absolutely nothing for it. I'm very surprised by that usage, but hey, they've got an opener anyway.
Destroying that alarm bot there gave him away. They knew exactly where Turco was, tucked up in the corner. Great opening, but CNED's going to be punished. The return back, all they need to do is keep the range. And with the operator in hand, Izzy is easily able to dispatch these players on ASCEND. Bone Cold and Zeke, Sheriff's in hand, hoping for a couple of headshots, but none to be landed just yet. This is going to be a tough fight in the corner. Surely they check it. Recon going to reveal. Oh, okay. Well, look, it's a Sheriff round. It's a weak buy. But with Pora and Izzy being sub 20 HP, that's when you're definitely going to be kicking yourself about when you watch the VOD back.
Yeah, I'm still surprised though about the Hunter's Fury at the very beginning. Like it's one of those things where it's like I guess they spotted a couple of players at the top of mid, but I just don't really see the value of such an impactful ult just being utilized like that. It might be because when you're that Odin player, you don't necessarily want to be switching in rounds where you actually have the Odin available, but they don't have it here, so yeah, just a little bit peculiar. We've also got the Blade Storm and the Res currently online for Supermassive Blaze, so 5-round streaks on either side. I wonder if we're finally going to get a combo breaker.
Let's see. If ASCEND have got it in them to take this one across the line. The operator of CNED on the other side of the map, Supermassive Blaze, have managed to dodge it, but look at all that Killjoy utility. There's stars everywhere. There's nano swarms, there's alarm bots, there's absolutely everything they could hope for, and those stars actually give the cover to avoid being oh, 2 players were spotted. They know underneath, and they're going to try to spam them into the open, not looking for the kill. They're trying to open space for Izzy to get frags with the off. The Hunter's Fury wasn't supposed to kill, just to reposition, but both shots miss. Izzy then pops the ultimate, moves towards the site, but he's pushed back right into the hands of Starzo, waiting for him. The kills are going their way, though. Supermassive Blaze here to fight and here to win with 50 seconds on the clock. They still need to deal with Starzo, and he is bringing this back into the realm of possibility for ASCEND. The timing so poor, and he just about gets taken down.
Turco as well is already watching this flank. It was everything for Zeke to get that kill, but they had him sandwiched in. And now the only one remaining is CNED to try and face off. Well, I was going to say versus 4, but it's now down to 3, and Turco will put him in his place. SMB take the lead after... I still can't believe they're 5-0 down. 6 in a row. Just took them a little bit of time to get off the mark, and now they're looking unbelievable.
Now you see exactly what we were talking about towards the start of this series, when we said that ASCEND winning the pistol, getting that 3rd round on the board and so on was so important.
I've got a point on that.
Go for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Bone Cold got 2 kills in the pistol.
Got 2 kills on the pistol. I can't remember.
I think he
back
did.
that far.
I don't think he's had a single kill since the pistol round.
Wow. Considering the form that he was on towards the end of Bind, that is a disappointing statistic to hear. credit to Supermassive Blaze for just shutting him down so consistently. That tag comes in, but it could have been a little bit awkward if it was a second earlier. Izzy on that operator's definitely been struggling in a couple of these rounds. Now up against the pistols yet again. Like, this is a forced buy from ASCEND, obviously because it's the last round of the half, but they still couldn't get anything much out. In fact, not a single rifle to fight for 6-6.
Well, let's see if Bone Cold can change things a little bit. He's watching for the wall boost up, but never mind, his head's been taken off anyway. Again, they have a couple of players around to try and just lock it down, but Starzo would have to go absolutely ham. He does have his res available to him to bring a teammate back, but if anything, he goes for that now. Teammate dead again. Yeah,
I mean, he'd be dead before he even got to the body. That's the thing. And I think he's just been spotted. Yes, he has. There's the tag on the wall. You see, they're saying he's close right, and Brave is going to take him down. In comes the Ares, but not good for those kind of fights. This is looking like a guaranteed 7 for Supermassive Blaze. A hero is needed, and it's not seen at this time around. It falls to Killaz. He's been huge before, and they know he's going for the lockdown. They're going to push him down right away. Killaz deals with them. Lockdown popped. Now he just needs to hold on to this position. There's no one coming in through heaven.
They've got one too.
But they've popped their own. They're going to be happy to keep him locked in position. In fact, he's going to push right afterwards. He's still looking for kills. He's taking down the first, swapping over the weapon, going to go and destroy it, and he gets it done as well. The other player's backed off. This could actually be huge. One player even got detained. Down goes the turret. He taps the defuse. It's all a ruse, trying to bait them into the open, and eventually he does. Unfortunately,
that was a nice try.
That's his end. Very nice try. In fact, the Spectre in a 1v4, hey, he almost got that done.
Yeah, no, I'm really surprised he got anywhere near as close as he actually did, but hey, nice attempt. He's had a pretty good half as well. I think it is just Bone Cold. He's having a rough one. Definitely not looking as comfortable as we normally see him. Someone who frags within his role, and maybe Astra's not for him.
Well, I have to say, looking at this comeback from Supermassive Blaze, 5-0 down, and they don't lose a single round. I'm at a loss for words. Luckily, I don't need to have any more words, because we've got our boy Bala again with a big breakdown. Let's throw it over.
I'm really interested in that question that Tom's asking right now, because SMB has struck back in the second map, and it is kind of due to, I think, a little bit of a mishap on ASCEND side, but also some good play from SMB. So let's go ahead and take a look at a round that I think turned the tides in this map so far. We can go ahead over to the telestration screen, because let's roll the clip, and you'll see basically you've got one. Let's zoom in right here on this lockdown. It is very, very common for, you know, your Killjoy to play the lockdown there, and sometimes you have the sight lines with the Sova to actually be able to Hunter's Fury it or Shock Dart it or a bunch of different things. Very common, but you have instantly the dash from Izzy. They got on a sight. Now this is where things go wrong, I think. If you look at the B site and you look at how they're playing this retake, you actually have, look at this player up here. You have the Sage up on top of the wall, and he has a really fantastic angle because nobody on the side of Market can see him. If you look at the light of science, you can't see him over that wall. They break it on top. He gets a couple of frags through that, but this wall that just came out, they're going to pop through and fight as the Sage gets contact, and they're going to just completely wipe the round off with that. All players down, one player left stuck behind the Astral Wall, but that's the last place that they have to check, and at that point it is completely over. So if SMB can continue to do something like that, that's kind of what ASCEND ended up, they ended up kind of losing their footing in that map and in that first half, because from then they continued to lose rounds over and over and over. And you saw the last round too, Killjoy ult versus Killjoy ult. Similar things that you're not really expecting to happen frequently. There was a couple of things where CNED was starting to get a couple frags with his op. He was starting to get a little hot, but after that, it really started to go downhill for ASCEND. We'll have to see if they can actually bring it back themselves. With the attack side they have on Bind, I think they can do just that, Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Bala. I'm loving this. The breakdowns on the big screen. We got Bala doing it. We'll have some other people on there later, but let's not spoil any of the fun.
Is it Sue?
It might be.
I've heard she's got the biggest brain in EU at least.
Well,
that's what some people say.
That is true. You know, Minnie and Boaster told me that one. 7-5. We're coming into half number 2. The defense of Supermassive Blaze about to be put to the test, but based on the last 7 rounds, they might not have any problems.
Yeah, no, it was like they couldn't really get anything going towards the end. It was a phenomenal comeback from Supermassive Blaze after what was the early rounds. We saw Izzy starting to step up, but all in all, like, everybody had their moments. Clutches coming out from Turco to close out some of the rounds, and now we need to see the same sort of brilliance from ASCEND. But they did do incredibly well in their pistol rounds. You never know. Maybe this is why Bone Cold will get him another one.
Maybe. Double up on the kills. Let's see what they can do. Supermassive Blaze getting aggressive, but CNET's here to play. The dash didn't quite go according to plan, but the kills certainly did. They don't expect it. And Russ is able to take down 2. That makes it doable. Bone Cold on 20 HP, but a big clutch from Turco. This guy has been insane so far, Tom. This might be too much to ask, though.
Yeah, especially with the thing is, this is a position that Turco also used in the last half. So if he gets fooled by his own tactic, I might be a little bit disappointed. The fact is that I don't know if it's actually going to be Starzo that does anything here, because there are players holding the cross. Bone Cold going to be watching and will spot out his position. No, he's not coming in from behind. And now it just leaves this disgusting crossfire, even going to pull in a star and a turret to try and leave him out. And although he does check, he was aware.
He was.
It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, well, there were 3 players to deal with and an Astra Star right below him, so he didn't really have a choice on that one. Also, great use of the Astra Stars to just run down the clock when it came to putting it on top of the wall that you're seeing right there on the right side. When you put it up there, it's a one-way. He's not going to run through that and get shot from sight, so instead he has to wait a couple of seconds before it fades away. It's 7-6, another pistol round for Ascend, and we often say, Tom, if you win both pistols, your chances of winning the map go up pretty significantly.
Yeah, no, it will put you in an incredibly good spot normally. It's just not normal that the case of your opponents winning 7 rounds in a row.
True.
So,
very true.
You know what? It's a little bit of a different scenario. It's actually crazy that Russ, I think he actually headshot someone through someone else and almost gets himself an extra kill in that round. So he did his best, but realistically, this round, Mitch, not expecting much.
No, not really. They know that there's a player towards the back of the site. Russ is going to be dealt with immediately. That drone had spotted him out. The dash is ambitious at best from Izzy. And this is going as expected. We're looking good for a Prime Gaming Flawless. And let's see if that comes through. Indeed, it does. Killer's farming up a bunch of orbs along with Starzo. They're now looking pretty hot, coming into 7-7.
Honestly, I'm surprised you didn't jinx that. Like, you calling a flawless
Calling
before it even happened.
Why not?
It's a bold play,
gotta roll the dice,
to say the least. But hey, we're gonna get a replay, a wonderful graphic from it as well. And I think I've really been enjoying Killers in this map actually. Like, it's one of those things where I feel like he's almost like the jack of all trades for the team. Like, he'll pick up a lot of different roles. Even in the previous iteration of the roster, you'd see him on Reyna sometimes, on Icebox, getting a little bit more aggressive. But he's done very well in a lot of rounds to almost just either make it incredibly costly, or in this case, get himself ever closer to that ultimate, which, as we saw in the last half for Pora, was incredibly impactful.
The one big disappointment for me from Supermassive Blaze has been Russ. He swapped skins. He's no longer using the Elder Flame like the rest of the team. So, you know, really, team synergy suffers there. But jokes aside, we're looking at a pretty aggressive push out of Ascend into a smoke. They went, and, well, they didn't get anything done for it. Brave quickly shutting them down before he falls himself. But that was a blink and you miss it kind of round.
Yeah, an aggressive push coming through from Brave into their own smoke. And, well, as that lone Phantom player, he can spray through those smokes no issue without them really knowing exactly where he is.
Man, Bone Cold's really not having a good game right now, is he? I mean, we know his Brimstone is world class. You saw his Lurk gameplay when it came to the previous map. He was able to do so much, but right now, man, I mean, the Astra on this map kind of surprised me because he was always playing the Omen, right? You were always looking for those. I mean, just the Paranoia alone has so much impact, but it also is very similar to what he'd be doing with the Brim. And now, well, the change-up, it's definitely had impact. You definitely see the Astra Stars coming in some critical moments, but I don't know if it's worth the trade-off.
Yeah, I feel like as well, a lot of the sort of top Astras that we see within the world at the moment are ones that are able to play incredibly well around their own utility and find a lot of impact and frags from it. So the fact that, yeah, Joyce is meant to be more of that supportive agent, I don't even feel like it flies when you're playing Astra so much.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now look at this. Opening kill has come through with Pora falling. Pora, another player who's been so pivotal. I've seen it, wasn't sure if there was a little gap there. Now, gonna be looking for some picks, operator in hand, but Brave is falling down on shore. With him out, the side is completely theirs. Ascend will be able to get a nice and easy plant and hold on to a 5 versus 3. And yeah, I'm with you, Tom. This looks like a textbook save from Supermassive Blaze. Looking at this scenario, they are starting to hit that W key a little bit.
Yeah, they legitimately have nothing to get them back into the round. drone already utilized. Sure, they could try and scan a player or two and maybe find them through the wall, but other than that, you're just going to be throwing weaponry into the wind. And on the other side of things, like, yeah, sure, a fair bit of the utility's already been deployed as well, but I don't think you're going to break this after plant. And for Supermassive Blaze, you just want to keep the economy strong. Make sure you can come back into the next round. Maybe get an operator for Izzy. He's someone on this map in particular is incredibly good at taking map control away from opponents on the defense. So I want to see that come into play at some point.
I like that. Yeah, there we go. It's a small thing, but I just heard the players. I'm not sure if the guys at home, if y'all on Twitch, YouTube, or wherever you might be watching, I'm not sure if you will have heard it. The guys on Ascend, they hit a big woo. You know, they're getting hyped. They're really pulling it. And I just saw Pora then like kind of look up and go, woo. He just returned it a little bit. Keep the energy up. And a nice round for Ascend to get them back on the horse.
I think that's the cool thing about both of these teams is that there's a lot of mutual respect between them. Like, especially
you saw it in the press conference yesterday. I mean, Riv was saying earlier that they just every time someone was asked like, "Yo, you guys, you got a rivalry like G2 Sentinels. What does it feel like?" And they're like, "I don't know, man. I think it's just social media. We got a lot of love for each other." Oh. What?
Okay, there you go. Burncold's back on the board. He's found himself a kill straight through the wall. Now, do they expect the re-aggression of Russ? In fact, they're almost going to try and completely ignore it, and Burncold finds another one. It's all fallen apart. This B-main aggression, something they attempted in the pistol, and it failed then as well, Mitch. They now have Brave to try and hold on to this site, and well, with the utility that's currently available, he can't even afford to like shoulder peek this, because he'll get sucked in.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for Brave. I mean, a 1v5 versus Ascend, not something you're likely to see come through, and so it looks like we're seeing yet another save, at least be postured for. We'll take a few exits if he can get them, but for the most part, it's going to be a fairly drawn-out round with not a lot happening. The door's even closed, so we can't even catch an angle. And so playing for the exits is the right call. The problem is getting into position for an exit. If he was to actually try and get behind B main, CNED is staring at that with an operator, and they even have spawn flank covered by Starzo. There's literally nowhere that he can surprise them from.
Yeah, and his teammate already died from that operator facing into mid. So like, if he was to push that, he'd have to be a little bit of a maniac. And I don't think, out of all the players on this team, I almost feel like Brave is like the calm within the storm, which is quite interesting considering he is the youngest as well. Yeah. Like the player who literally turned 18 today, I believe. I think that was said on the desk earlier. So happy birthday, Brave. I hope that your gift is you get to keep your gun this round.
Well, let's see if it is. Let's see if Ascend are feeling generous. Maybe that's what was happening on the previous map. They were throwing through Vandals saying like, hey, you know what? Give it to Brave. It's his birthday. Little present for him. Well, the spike's gonna blow up. I
wonder if they'll attempt that B push again at any point, because they've now attempted it in the pistol and in this round, and in both times they've walked into every single member of Ascend, and it's gone incredibly bad. So I would almost say that this is one of those pushes that maybe you have a bit of a peek coming out from Izzy with the dash available, but other than that, I feel like it's just not worth it anymore. Like Ascend seem to love to lock that position down very early on in the round.
Yeah, oh, they definitely do. But look at this, at the start of this round, Ascend are shifting their focus towards the A site, and so are Supermassive Blaze. With 3 players here and a one-way smoke coming through, they're going to try to not just, oh, they've been spotted. Oh, they have 4 players here, 3 have been seen, and that's going to be Ascend backing off. There's no way they commit to it.
Yeah, at this point, I'm almost starting to wonder if they have some sort of pact. Where it's like, we go B and then we go A.
We ride together, we die together.
Like, we're going to fight each other there, but this is a lot of control already being taken. Locking down mid, we know that the only man holding on is going to be Pora. Now, we mentioned it before, he is incredibly good with his pistol. He's found an angle, but Zeke is more than aware. We've seen from the shadows actually used to TP into the back of the site, but it doesn't matter. The site's gone.
God, Brave just got domed. The first was nice, the second unreasonable. The lockdown comes into effect. Plant can be secured towards the back of the site, and this is where Supermassive Blaze normally would be considering a save. That's been heard. Starzo knows full well that there are players barreling around middle. That was not an easy fight to take, not expecting him to be running past like that. For Turco, I think saving is definitely on the cards, although I notice he's the closest player, and now up on top of the, oh, if that hit, I would have banned him. We'd have to hit the button right away. That was a disgusting attempt. They'll get him in the end. 10-8, Ascend going up to double digits in the ones, Tom, as they now look to bring it across the line. This is Supermassive Blaze's map pick. They got 7 in a row. And again, struggling to get off the starting block in these early rounds. I love it.
Those are those sort of kills that maybe you get like once every few weeks. And Zeke's been doing it all the way through the day. I almost feel like Supermassive Blaze have got to feel a little bit hard done by the fact that they've now had back-to-back maps where both Zeke and ACEND are in top form. Like, I haven't seen, at least to this consistency, both of these players do so well within the match. And at the moment, they're looking unstoppable, especially considering Zeke has actually switched over to the Sova. It's just his aim that has been ridiculous.
Now we're going to end up with another timeout called, and it's no surprise that it's Supermassive Blaze calling for that timeout. Considering how things have been going so far, they definitely need to take a breather. Yes, they bounced back into the previous map.
Oh.
Well,
I don't think that was a pause. They've gone straight into the round.
All good.
We'll just see what happens in this one. Already looking a little bit better for Supermassive Blaze. Maybe they didn't need the pause after all.
Yeah, they didn't need the tactics. It looks like they're looking pretty clean in the 4 versus 2. ACEND and Zeke trying to pull it back. Operator on ACEND hopes to find a victim. Gonna bait them out with the shot. He's seeing nothing right now. It's a pretty tough one. You know, obviously when you're on the attack for ASCEND right now, losing this round isn't going to be the end of the world. They've built up quite a hefty bank. But Supermassive Blaze really needs to win this in a relatively clean fashion, and they have so far. And then they, okay, that's a trade. That's good. Got that kill so quickly onto Zeke. My God. Another CNED clutch needed, and although he's reliable when it comes to the EMEA region for making those clutch plays, he's up against Supermassive Blaze here. These are his countrymen. They know what he's up to.
Yeah, they tried to bait a few steps here and there to try and pull a couple of rotations, but it was nothing that was fallen for by their opponents. And again, I feel like Brave has got away with that peak a few times now, just going into the own smoke. I feel like that's something that needs to be spammed from ASCEND if they're ever going to make a play in towards that A site. The fact is, though, it has been the B site that looks a little bit more vulnerable at the moment for Supermassive Blaze. Like, A has looked pretty decent. I think Brave has done a good job. I think it was the only time they actually won it was either it was a full retake or Brave was just somewhere off of the site. So if they've had him in lockdown, it's worked. And now we do actually get the tactical timeout.
Oh, and CNED's aced. I'm kidding. It is a timeout
I
from
can tell this
Supermassive
time
Blaze.
because we actually have a special screen which shows the map.
Yeah.
And last time I was kind of looking at it going, people are moving.
People are running around and
Whereas
disappearing.
this time, no one is moving.
So
So if they're bamboozled again, then someone has completely tricked me.
Same situation, though. This tactical timeout for Supermassive Blaze comes at such an important time. They are 10 to 9. They are 1 behind, trying to get back on that same comeback that they had in the previous half. They allowed 5 rounds to their opponents in a row that time, and then swung back into it. This is their defense, though. We expect so much more from it, but the tactic that they so love to deploy, the B main pushes, the A main pushes, the grouping up and using the pack mentality has been countered every step of the way by ASCEND. So they need to go back to the drawing board, and this is where their coach gets to input quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been given the chance to do it. Zeke will get Mitch very excited.
Let's go.
Bought himself an Odin on the attacker side, and actually for now was facing it to mid. I imagine he was just lining up a little bit of utility, trying to force some players out of position with the drone. And again, we're going to see the wall actually this time being put down. I like this a little bit better. As I said, the aggression into this side of the map has been a failure so far for Supermassive Blaze.
Get the big guns out. Let's go, Zeke. Here's the recon. That's going to reveal the player down in the alley and give Zeke an opportunity. In fact, Turco manages to just sneak his way down and avoid getting tagged on up. That could have been a disaster otherwise. Now, this is definitely going to be a split into the B side, at least for now. The spike has been left all the way towards their spawn. They are allowing Killez to hold on to control there with his turret and then rotate late. But it looks like, yeah, they are going to commit.
I almost wondered if they were going to try and fake things out a little bit. Like
They
put
sort of
down
have with the time.
same utility. The problem, though, is Supermassive Blaze haven't fallen for it. They've still got 3 players within this site. Now, the Cosmic Divide will at least give them a chance to section out some of these players,
Boathouse.
but they need to try and catch some of the remainder before they can take the site.
Boathouse blocked, and now it's time to rush into the site, taking the fights as they go, but down goes the Odin. Zeke dealt with. Izzy pops out with the Blade Storm for some close-range fights. We call that one a Sean Gares. He's whiffed it completely as we go into the 3v3 with very little time. Ascend can't really get that spike planted. How are they going to be able to close in the distance? They need the kills so quickly. Bone Cold, good for it, but time is gone. The round already Supermassive blazes. You would have imagined, but that last kill at the last
They
second.
got you. They got you.
I'm seeing 4 seconds left. I'm like, oh, it's done, it's dusted. But they just about managed to pull it off. 11-9, and that's one of those rounds where Supermassive Blaze have got to be kicking themselves, man. They did everything right. They delayed it, and it's the player who was doing nothing the whole way along. Bone Cold must have went 12 rounds in a row without a kill, and he turns up right when he needs to.
Well, yeah, and also Killers started that on the other side of the map and then ended up getting the final frag for them as well. I love that. You were completely...
I was sold 100%. I'm like, there must be someone somewhere, guys, right? No?
No. They were all within that B site at the end, and they all got taken out.
And the time was gone as well. Like, literally, if that player stayed Boathouse, they won off time. That's one of those things, man. Try to play with your teammates, and it's the wrong decision. That's why I always bait. It doesn't work.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Not going to disagree with what you just said. But an early couple of trades. A 4 versus 4. Weaponry is in the bin for Supermassive Blaze. They've got themselves a Marshall, a couple of SMGs, but they have managed to find themselves an opener. Now, their A-site hold has definitely been the better of the two. The problem is they don't really have much space around it. They do, however, have the Killjoy ult.
That they do. That's going to buy them a lot of time. Delaying it down, that mid-peak. Great shot by Izzy, a Marshall in hand. Only one shot if he hits the heady, and that he most certainly does. Starzo has spotted a player dropping down, the Marshall poking and prodding at him. Hopefully the slow will be enough to keep him back. As Starzo closes the distance, Pora thinks he's gone undetected.
He has?
Did he? Okay, there we go. He'll eventually be taken down. That could have been incredibly awkward. Backside, look how low Russ is. With a res coming in, they do not want to lose Russ down below. Oh, that bullet! It went right by his face. They know he's there. They've taken him out, and now the res, luckily, has put them into a 2v3. But a tough one, as again, time could have been the enemy, but the spike will be planted.
Oh, they've got their own lockdown, try and deny them the initial push, but they're just going for it. They're going to try and run through, and Starzo is there. He saved them in this round. The plays into mid, catching out Pora, and it's going to be 12-9, and this is where things really are troublesome for Supermassive Blaze. They invested a decent amount into the last round, but I do wonder if that's going to be a position where they now have nothing to play with, and it is. Financially, it sucks again.
And I heard Sean talk about on the desk how there's 2 forms of Ascend. On the one hand, you can see them have that CNED go kill. He goes out, he finds space, and then they play off of it. And then you have that second form, the tight, consistent gameplay, and that is what we're seeing here. A glance at the scoreboard will tell you, with the exception of Bone Cold, everyone's between 17 and 19 kills. This is not a simple situation of, oh, let's deal with this guy, and then we're good for the round. No, everyone is showing up. We've seen Bone Cold in that last second clutch to grab them 3 kills on the site and win it when even I thought the round was done. This has been an incredible performance from Ascend on a map that Supermassive Blaze are known for being dominant on. Let's take that away and even say Turkey are known for being dominant on. And now the 5-man Turkish squad need 3 rounds in a row to even get an overtime.
Yeah, I think we're in a spot now as well where we can look at how they've been playing this attack side and almost just look at it in a comparison to the way that SMB like to play. They like to get up in your face. They like to take these aggressive duels, and Ascend have just slowed things down. Late defaults, late pushes into the site. We even saw they should have lost a round on time moments ago, and in the round before, a round after even, they planted with 10 seconds left.
Turco is feeling it right now, wants to get aggressive. The turret hasn't spotted him up close. That's a nasty angle, and one that almost definitely won't be expected. These players are worried about the guy in main, but now they've spotted him. The dash used up by CNET, burned up in the early stages. They've got the kill, and they're going to continue hunting him down. At least for a moment they were. The man advantage. They called a tactical timeout just before this Ascend, letting Supermassive Blaze sit in it, and now they'll run the clock down and do much of the same.
Yeah, is he actually on a bulldog? That's not something I ever would think of with that man, at least. Like the Marshall in the previous round, able to do quite a bit. We'll see if he can have the same success. Again, though, it's looking fairly all in from ASCEND.
Yeah.
All waiting outside.
It's the right call.
3 players on this site. If they can trade effectively, sure, it's going to go great, but they need to shut this man down early, and that's exactly what they do.
Great kill onto Izzy, now tucked in the corner. It's even expected. They were pre-firing and spraying away. Pora, the last man alive, and they'll bring Zeke right back into the round, bought back by the res. This is an almost unwinnable clutch. In fact, Pora's got the worst weapon of them all. We saw a weapon here or there, some Spectres, but this man only has the Sheriff. Sure. He can do a lot with it, but in a 1v4, the pack mentality of ACEND, there's so much to deal with here, and yeah, the turret is going to be problem number 1. 13-9, 2-0. ACEND have walked away with the win on Supermassive Blaze's map pick. They have won the first match of Masters 3.
That is an incredibly good sign if you're an ASCENT fan. Oh,
what's this?
okay.
Oh, all right. We've got a bull on stage, and you know what? I'd describe him as exactly that. The whole team, aggressive, feeling it on the back of Bone Cold's IG yelling. We saw him. He was stone cold on the first map, taking a bit of a hit when it came through to this one. The Astra not requiring the same style of play. But this team is now playing themselves that revenge story up against SMB.
I love it as well, because I was wondering coming into this tournament, like, will we have anybody along the lines of Fnatic? Like, will anybody put there maybe a Paddy Pan? Is there anyone out there who's going to do it? And I was like, maybe Starzo. But that's the whole team. They're all getting involved, having a great time. And honestly, that was impressive, because this is a map that they, even against weaker opposition, have not looked particularly good. Now coming in against what I would have said coming into this tournament as the best ASCENT team from EMEA, and hey, they made them look mortal.
They absolutely did.